Jey mumbles.
Morgan has sights set on Vaquer.
And World Heavyweight title match set for next year. Hello, welcome to Wrestle MSX. The Jumper is back, and I am Michael.
I'm Sally.
And after a recap of Survivor Series, if you missed it, go and watch our detailed coverage. We see Dom and Liv arrive in a lowrider before we begin with IYO SKY and Rhea Ripley heading to the ring. Ripley says the fight isn't over and they want revenge, targeting the women's tag team titles. Rhea calls out the Kabuki Warriors, but gets Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair instead. Flair and Bliss say they're owed a rematch for the tag titles, with Rhea saying they should step aside. Bliss then proposes they take each other on later, with Sky saying, "You're on."
We cut to Adam Pearce backstage, making that women's tag match official, before we see Ivy Nile asking for a shot at Maxxine Durí's Intercontinental title. Pearce gives her first crack at the title, with Pearce then turning towards Paul Heyman and Bron Breakker. Heyman reminds Pearce that Breakker pinned his champion, CM Punk, before they head into Pearce's office. So, I'ma guess Heyman is looking for a title shot for Mr. Breakker.
First out tonight, Jey Uso taking on LA Knight in the first semi-final of the last time is now tournament. Knight nearly gets a BFT after avoiding an early spear, with Jey then missing a hip attack. The pair exchange blows before we head out the ring with a dive by Jey. At this point, we break, but when we come back, we're on the top rope where both men knock each other off and land on the outside.
Back in the ring, Knight lands a burning hammer and covers for 2, before a Jey spear also gets a 2. Jey then goes up high, but Knight catches up to him and lands a megaplex and cover for another 2. Super kick, spear, Uso splash and cover get Jey another 2, with Knight kicking out and rolling up Jey all in one movement. This catches Jey unawares, allowing Knight to pin the Uso and head to the final of the Last Time Is Now tournament.
Backstage, Bayley asks Adam Pearce how she and Lyra can get in the tag team picture. I don't need any more. With Pearce saying they're in consideration, Asuka then appears, shouts, and says if Bayley had joined them, they could have won. War Games, that is.
The Judgment Day head out next, minus Liv Morgan, with Don saying he's the greatest Mysterio of all time and the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time, before thanking his Judgment Day comrades. He then says he couldn't have done it without Morgan, with Liv then of course heading out. Morgan says Cena didn't see her coming, before adding that she's heard the Judgment Day are falling apart, but she's back and they're coming for everything.
We have a vignette of Maxxine Durí being put through her paces by Natalya, before we see Adam Pearce asking Eddie Arango to keep his ear to the ground after his match, refereeing obviously, to see if he hears anything about Seth being around, because apparently he was seen at Survivor Series.
Was he?
Well, that's the word on the street.
We have another WrestleMania vignette, the men, before our next match. AJ Styles and Dragon Lee defending their World Tag Team titles against The New Day, with Grayson Waller, of course, tagging along.
He's got nothing else to do.
No. Styles gets beaten by the pair to begin with an early 1-count cover, with Styles then avoiding an attack and bringing Lee in. Lee sends Kingston to the outside as we then hit a break.
We come back to Styles and Woods tagging back in, with Kofi then coming back in and covering for 2 after a double team. Styles locks in the calf crusher, but Woods makes the save. Kofi is then double teamed and covered for 2 before Lee is taken apart by Woods, who then re-tags Kofi, who covers Lee for another 2. The sweetest part of the match then transpires as Styles drapes Kingston over the top rope, allowing Lee to land a double stomp to his back. The momentum of the downward force sends Kofi springing off the rope and right into Styles, who catches him in the Styles Clash position. Brilliant. Styles then of course executes the move and covers, picking up the 1, 2, 3. It was just phenomenal. No pun intended. Brilliant.
Backstage, Jackie Redmond asks Stephanie Vaquer what message the victory sends. She says if you betray Stephanie Vaquer, you get burned, and is ready for whatever her next challenger brings. Step forward, Liv Morgan, who says she's back before congratulating Vaquer.
We have yet another WrestleMania vignette, the women, before we see The Vision, Paul Heyman and Logan Paul in the ring. Heyman gives a shout out to Brock Lesnar, Drew McIntyre, Bronson Reed, Logan Paul, who Heyman says fits perfectly into the Vision, and then adds that CM Punk will defend his title against Bron Breakker on Raw next January on the 5th. Breakker then says he's upset at how easy it was to pin CM Punk. He thought he was going to have to dig deep, but then realised he was a soft-ass pitch. Breakker then says he's coming for it all after Punk nearly broke his neck at Survivor Series. Bron adds a little more, but that is generally the gist of what was said.
Jackie Redmond tries to get a few words from Jey about his loss earlier, and then about Breakker becoming the new #1 contender. He just mumbles before saying the only person to blame is the one looking back in the mirror. He then adds Reigns said it best by saying the titles look better on his shoulder.
If he's going to be like, okay, I'm not going after the titles anymore, I might just let my cousin. Yet another WrestleMania vignette is played. You're pushing this, aren't you? The Cody one saying he's built for this moment before our next match, Gunther versus Solo Sikoa, accompanied by Tala Tonga. In the last semi-final of The Last Time Is Now tournament. The pair matched each other blow for blow until Solo dropped Gunther with a shoulder tackle. Gunther then fired back with a big boot, with Solo rolling out the ring.
Back from the break, Gunther chops Solo, with Solo slamming Gunther, which takes it out of both men. Solo then gets a 2 count after landing on Gunther after the Austrian tried to pick up the Samoan. Gunther then lands a superplex, with the pair then chopping and hitting each other until once again collapse to the mat.
After yet another break, we come back to a hip attack from Solo and clothesline by Gunther, with Gunther then getting a 2 count after another huge clothesline. Solo lands a Samoan drop and covers for 2, with Gunther then firing back with multiple chops. A spinning Solo then slows the ring general, with Sikoa then landing a splash and cover for 2.
Solo goes for a spike, but Gunther ducks it and locks in a sleeper, with Sikoa grabbing the corner of the ring to escape it. Gunther then changes his grip and pulls off a German suplex, with Solo grabbing and pulling off the turnbuckle pad as it's hit. The referee then decides to replace the turnbuckle pad, with Tala then getting on the apron. Gunther knocks him from it and heads out to continue the beatdown.
Tala downs the Austrian though, and then calls Solo out so the pair can beat him up. But as Tala holds Gunther in place for Solo to spike him, the referee turns round and sees what's happening. Gunther mule kicks Tala and then smashes Solo's hand on the apron before the two superstars head back into the ring. The referee then tells Tala off, but while doing so, Gunther low blows Solo, hits a powerbomb and then covers, with the ref then turning around and counting to 3. LA Knight then comes out and trash talks Gunther, with the pair going one-on-one on SmackDown this week to determine who John Cena's last ever opponent will be.
Not Edge then. We see yet another WrestleMania vignette, with Becky Lynch saying she'll remind everyone who the greatest female wrestler of all time is, before we head backstage again and see ref Eddie Arango telling Adam Pearce everyone's saying they've seen Seth Rollins. Pearce then says he's heard the same thing. AJ Styles and Dragon Lee then appear, saying they'll take on the War Raiders next week. Pearce says fine, you'll defend your tag titles next week against them.
Backstage we see Rey Mysterio speaking with Jackie Redmond, with Jackie saying that Rey will take on Finn Balor next week. Rey has no problem with running through the Judgment Day one at a time, with Jackie then alluding to Rey having another run at the IC title. Logan Paul then interrupts, telling Rey to step away and that the IC title belongs to the Vision. Paul then says he's going to retire Rey, with Rey then slapping Paul. Luckily for Logan, backstagers stop the fight from going any further.
Last match of the night, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair take on Rhea Ripley and IYO SKY. Flair accidentally boots Rhea off the apron in the opening moments as Sky dodged the attack and then apologises just as we break. We come back to Rhea woman handling Bliss, with Bliss then kicking off Rhea, who then inadvertently knocks Flair from the apron.
Bliss is then double teamed and covered for 2 by Sky, with Sky then lining up and missing a Meteora. Bliss and Sky then tag out, bringing in the powerhouses of their respective teams, Ripley and Flair. The pair exchange blows in the middle of the ring, with Rhea then playing possum and drawing Flair in before landing a kick to her head as we break.
We come back to the Flair up and over the top rope move in the corner before knocking Rhea from the apron and diving back in the ring at Sky. Sky drops Flair with a double knees and then tags in Rhea once again. Rhea has 2 goes at Razor's edging Flair. She drops her the first time, with Sky then following up with a missile drop kick. Rhea covers, but Flair kicks out on 2.
Rhea then looks for Riptide, but Flair counters it into a DDT and tags out, with Bliss then hitting a DDT and covering for 2. Wasn't Jake the Snake Roberts' finisher a DDT? Literally a finisher as a DDT, and now people are kicking out of it on 2 in succession. Anyway, Bliss goes for Twisted Bliss, but Rhea gets her knees up, with the 2 superstars then tagging out. Sky eats a big boot and natural selection, with Bliss then tagging in and hitting Sister Abigail. The float cover is then broken by Rhea on 2.
Rhea comes back in, escapes Sister Abigail, headbutts Bliss, riptides her and then tags in Sky. Sky lands a moonsault and covers, but the cover's broken up by Flair running into Rhea, with the pair tumbling onto the pin. Chaos then ensues as the Kabuki Warriors head out and beat everyone up. The referee then calls for the bell, ending the match.
The Warriors single out Sky, with Asuka ready to hit her with the tag belt when Bayley and Lyra run out. They take out the Warriors, with Lyra then ready to land on the scene from the announcer's desk, but before she can, Liv Morgan upends her, with Perez and Rodriguez then entering the ring and taking out Bayley and Asuka. Asuka suffers a Tahana bomb while Bayley has some pop rocks.
Rodriguez and Perez then raise the women's tag titles, with Morgan then heading into the ring. 3, of course, doesn't fit into 2, so Perez hands the title to Morgan. Only Morgan hands it back and then raises her fellow Judgment Day members' arms as we go off the air.
This is telling me that Morgan's more interested in a world title
Which she should be.
than a tag title, which is correct, she should be. It was just absolute chaos.
Yeah.
Oh my word.
Everyone coming out.
And the thing is, I'd rather watch this than when they try to do it with the men's tag teams on SmackDown at the start of the year. I don't like the Kabuki Warriors. I've already said this. Kaboring Warriors.
Times.
But the others, the other tag teams are brilliant because they're all different.
Yeah.
The Kabuki Warriors are just the same old. Whereas the others, especially Bliss and Flair, I'm not that keen on Ripley and Sky. It's just a weird dynamic, that is. But you know, you've got Lyra and Bayley coming in. They're mixing it up. They're bringing the women to the fore. Not that they haven't already. But yeah, I think this tag team's gonna take off. I don't know who's left on SmackDown. Now everybody's on Raw. It's going to be nobody left, is it? It's just going to be
Jackson Lash, maybe?
Yes, Jackson Lash legend, good call. Just them.
Yeah.
Or then you've got B-Fab and Meechin. Forget them.
Yeah.
No disrespect. Who? Maybe Cargill will team up with Stratton.
You never know.
I mean, why not? What a team that would be. What a power trip. Can anyone remember that tag team? Anyway, if you've watched so far, you've probably got a fair idea what I'm going to say is Michael's moment of the night. Again, it could be a match, a line, a look, a promo, something funny, interesting, quirky, different, just something that catches my eye. Obviously, it has to wait until the end, because if I do it halfway through and it's something that happens at the end, it's kind of a spoiler. So Michael's moment of the night is the return of the jump. No, it's AJ Styles catching Kofi Kingston into position for a Styles clash after Kofi rebounded off the ropes from Dragon Lee's double foot stomp. It was just fantastic. Everyone had to be in position for it to work, and they pulled it off seamlessly. It was just, again, I don't want to say poetry in motion, but when he caught him, you're like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Just because you've not seen it. Obviously, Kofi's got the ability to be able to contort his body, get this, but it was fantastic. I also thoroughly enjoyed the Solo Gunther match.
Yeah.
I really did enjoy that. I just sat and watched it. I just stopped and I watched it. It was exactly what it needed to be. It was two heels not giving an inch and matching each other stride for stride. I really did enjoy this one, and I know you'll all agree.
But if you want to disagree or have any other thoughts or views that you'd like to share with us, please feel free to leave them in that comment section down below. Don't forget to go and check out our Musings video. A new one drops every Wednesday, or our comprehensive review of Survivor Series.
Thank you very much for watching.
And we'll see you Wednesday for a look at this past week in WWE, and Saturday when we take a look at SmackDown.